Hi friends, I'm Abby and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a big summer unhaul of books. So last night I was sat on the sofa reading and I was just looking at my bookshelves and went, you know what, it's time. It's time for an unhaul. And I think it was the pressure of seeing the amount of books up to the side of my bookshelf that aren't fitting and I was like, right, we'll unhaul some. So some of these I'd already taken off my bookshelf and they're being sat in another pile. But I took 20 books off the bookshelf and you cannot tell. You cannot tell at all 20 books came off the bookshelf because it is still stuffed. And I'm like, did I even make a dent? Did I even make any difference in this Tetris bookshelf? I have 30 books here to unhaul. 30 books that can now leave. I am going to be, I think this was the series that prompted it, that I was looking at this series and I was like, am I ever going to reread this series? What value is this series adding to my bookshelf? And that is the Cruel Prince trilogy by Holly Black. And the thing is, I enjoyed this. I enjoyed the whole trilogy. It was fun, it was fine, but I don't think I'm ever going to reread it. So I don't see the value of keeping it. And I mean, this takes up a lot of space. This is 3 hardbacks. That's a good chunk of room, which could go to other books. I mean, I think this is a good chunk of room, but it doesn't look like I've cleared out this. But I don't need it. And someone will really, really enjoy reading these. I am also thinking I will unhaul Gumiho by Cacho or Wicked Fox. Again, I enjoyed this, but I don't think I'm ever going to reread it. And I don't think I'm going to read the sequel. I was fine having this as a standalone. And I don't think I'm going to miss it if it's not in the house. That's what was my, would I miss this series if it wasn't around? Would I miss this book? Would I want to reread it? And right now, I don't think I will ever reread this. And if I do, then I can probably get it from the library. And I think I got this from the charity shop anyway. So it's just going back into the hands of where I got it from. I think I will also be unhauling the first 2 books in the Stalking Jack the Ripper series. I read these both. I haven't read the other 2 books. And again, they were fine and they were fun. But I can't see myself continuing with the series. I read this second one over a year ago now, and I haven't really had the desire to pick up the 3rd and the 4th book. And I have heard mixed reviews on the rest of the series, so that sort of dissuades me as well. And the thing is, these are fine, but they haven't really stuck with me, and I haven't had any desire to continue. So that's where I am with it. And yet again, I feel people will be really happy to find these because they're quite popular YA series. Another pretty popular one, I think, on the YA market is Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Nyan. And again, I enjoyed this one. A lot of these books I enjoyed. A lot of them I gave probably 3 or 4 stars, but I don't think I'm ever going to reread them. And so I don't have any desire to keep them necessarily. It's not like I actively hated them. I mean, there's a couple here that I wasn't a fan of, but I didn't actively dislike a lot of these books. These are just books that I don't see myself rereading, and I think they will have more value going into the hands of other readers. So Girls of Paper and Fire, I liked this, but for me, this was a standalone. Apart from the final chapter where she was like, I've written a lovely standalone here. Boom, no, we're making this a trilogy just to make more money off it. And I do not understand the point in that. This is a standalone. And then you decided right at the last minute to try and make it a series. And the thing is, it just made me have no desire to pick up the rest of the series because I was like, you wrapped it all up. You wrapped up the whole story. Where are you going with this now? That got on my nerves a little bit. I don't think I'm going to reread it, so it can go. Another fine book was Dark Shores by Danielle L. Jensen. And the thing is, with this, I have really liked a couple of Danielle L. Jensen's other series. I really liked the Stolen Songbird trilogy, and I've liked the Bridge Kingdom duology. This one just fell a bit flat for me. It was fine, but it didn't have the same spark as those other 2 series, so I can't see myself continuing in this series. Maybe because those other 2 series lean more on the new adult side, whereas this lent much more YA. I don't know, I just didn't connect with the characters. Excellent plot, but I wasn't a massive fan of the execution, so it was just fine. One that I really did not like was The Archive of the Forgotten by AJ Hackworth, and I actually read an arc of this off NetGalley and I cancelled my order of the book, but it turned up anyway. So I didn't want it to begin with, so I don't want it in my house. I absolutely loved The Library of the Unwritten, which is the first book in this series. I gave this one 2 stars. Just imagine, The Library of the Unwritten is a standalone in my opinion. It's a 5-star standalone, and this does not exist. It doesn't exist. So I don't want it in my household, so I can just continue thinking of the Library of the Unwritten as a standalone. I'm unhauling this copy of Graceling because I have another copy. So this is a duplicate. This one, I was gifted the set of them, all three of them, or like the original trilogy in a set. And this one I got from the charity shop a few years ago. So this one can now go, as I have a nice, it's the same cover, but it's a slightly smaller, normal size paperback edition. So this one can go because I don't need 2 copies of it. I'm going to be unhauling Flame in the Mist by Renee Ahdieh. And again, I liked this. I never continued with the second book, and now it's just been far too long, so I'm just forgotten it and I can't. I really like a lot of Renee Ahdieh's books. Like I really like The Wrath and the Dawn duology, and I have liked the Beautiful series so far. And I liked this, but it's just not a favourite. And yeah, again, I think I picked this up from the charity shop. So yeah, it can just go back into the hands of the charity shop yet again. I have decided to unhaul the whole of the Lifelike series by J. Kristoff. So yet again, I liked it, but I don't need all 3 books on my bookshelf. And the thing is, I feel a bit conflicted with J. Kristoff and my feelings towards him as a person. So I just don't know how I feel about having his books anymore. I mean, that's not like there's like the 2 reasons for me getting rid of this. There's like the reason that I enjoyed this series at the time. I can't see myself ever rereading it. It was fine. But there's also as well this part of me that's like, I don't know if I really want to be supporting him as an author because of some of the things that he has said and done. And so I feel a little bit conflicted with it. As well, the thing that most sits weirdly with this series, and I think it's a theme across a lot of his other series as well, is that he writes these characters which are teenagers, but they don't act like teenagers. They are doing things that he ages down his characters. And so these characters are like 15 when in reality they're doing things that are more like 18, 20-year-olds. And so it just seems a bit weird that he's sexualizing teenagers, and that it just seems a bit bizarre for me. So like when I read this, I just ignored their ages and aged them up in my head, but it seems very, his age choices for his characters is bizarre. One that I actually haven't read, and I've owned this for like over a year now, and I just don't know if I'm going to read it. And so I've been thinking about it, and every time I think about it, I'm like, am I ever going to read that? Am I really ever going to read that? And that is the Witcher series. So I only own this first book, The Last Wish. And I've been going backwards and forwards over whether I want to read this. Do I read it? Do I not read it? And I just don't think I ever will. I don't think I will. Because I've heard good things about like the 2 short story collections. But I've heard so many mixed opinions on the rest of the series. It's quite a long series as well. And I've heard so many people say that they don't like the way that he tells the main stories because you're not focused on the main characters. You're seeing it through so many other perspectives that you sort of lose the flavour of these characters. And I just don't know if it's going to be for me. Like, I'm not a big gamer. Like, maybe if I really liked gaming and I had played The Witcher, then potentially I would love reading the books. And the thing is, I liked the TV show, but I found the timelines really confusing. I just don't know if I will ever read this. And I feel like I'm just holding on to it and it's taking up space. And potentially if I do ever want to read it, then I can get it again. Or I can get it from the library because I spent like £3 on this. Like, it wasn't expensive or anything. So I just feel like I'm not going to read it anytime soon. So I don't think I need it in my life. I'm also going to be getting rid of Grave Mercy by Robin Lefevre's. Again, I liked this. This one I liked. This one I gave, I think, 4 stars. And I really, really liked it. And I read the rest of the trilogy. Like, I read the whole thing. I got the other 2 books from the library, and the thing is, I'd have been fine if I got this one from the library, and that's how I feel. Like, I could have just got this from the library and then returned it to the library. It wouldn't be so much of an issue of me like unhauling it. I just feel like I enjoyed the series, it was fine, but I don't need to hold on to it. Like, I would definitely recommend this trilogy if you like. I'd say this is like an older YA series. I mean, it's older in the terms that it was written quite a while ago, and older that the characters are more mature, but I enjoyed this. I definitely enjoyed this, but I don't need it. I am also going to be getting rid of Gemina and Obsidio by J. Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. I have Illuminate, but that's back at my parents', so I can't really unhaul that right now. But I have these 2 with me here. These were fine. I enjoyed them at the time. I think they were very interesting to read with the alternate format and like the different formatting. But I can't see myself ever rereading them. I just can't. Like, they were fine, they were fun, but I've had my time with them and I'm not going to reread them. So I think they can just move along and make someone else happy when they read them. But I just don't think I don't need them because I'm not going to reread them. Another one that I haven't read is The Hunted by Gabrielle Bergmoser. My stepmom gave this to me. She read it and enjoyed it, but I can't see myself ever reading it. Like, maybe one day I'll read it, but I don't need to read it right now. So I don't even know what it's about, but I don't need it. Another series which I think I gave both of these books 3 or 4 stars, like I enjoyed them, is the Passenger series by Alexander Bracken. So I read these, I think, when they were coming out, like, and this was like a time travel. I really liked these books. And this was like a time traveling fantasy, sci-fi, romance series. And I really liked it. I really did. It was such it was a really interesting premise. And it was a great duology, like it wrapped up. I think it was a very solid duology. And the thing is, I had been a bit conflicted on this one. I was like, do I want to unhaul it? This was one where I was a bit more on the fence because I did really like it. But I don't think I will ever reread it. Like, I don't think I will. And I don't really think about it that often. Like, it's not in the forefront of my mind. Like, some books I think about, like even books that I read years and years ago, you think they come into your mind every now and again. You're like, oh, that was such a good book. But that doesn't happen with this series. So I think it's okay. It's okay for me to let go. Sticking with the theme of books that I think were fine, they were like 3-4 stars, is The Brilliant Death by Amy Rose Capetta. This is a duology and I'm not going to continue with it. Like, it's been too long since I read this one. And the thing is, this one has a really interesting premise. It's set in like a Venetian inspired world or an Italian inspired setting. And you're following a main character who has magical abilities to transform enemies into like objects. Oh, and then she meets this other magician who is able to swap, not bodies, but like swap back and forth between being male and female, and like is able to change their gender. And that was really interesting to read about her falling for this other magician who is gender fluid. I'm not really sure on the term, but like is able to change their gender. Very interesting and a very fun like magical world and magic system. And I liked the setting, but I'm not going to reread it. I mean, I feel sorry for if anyone picks it up in the charity shop because I did not enjoy it and I do not recommend it. And that is Sea of Ruin by Pam Godwin. So if you've seen, I think I talked about this in my March wrap up, but this is very problematic. So I do not recommend it at all. So it has to leave. It's being thrown out. Like if I could just like throw this into the bin, that's where it would go, because I do not recommend this at all. This is not one where I gave it 3 stars. This is one where I DNF'd it because I could not deal with the problematic content. So definitely it just has to go. Another one is My Lady Jane by Cynthia Han, Brodie Ashton and Jodie Meadows. Yet again, I liked this one. It was like 3-4 stars. And the thing is, with this one, I have like not connection to it, but like I bought this when I was on holiday in Canada. So I had this like, I bought this when I was in Canada. Like it has that sort of connection to it. I associate it with being on holiday and buying it I think I bought it in Montreal, but like so it feels like hard to get rid of it. I'm like, don't leave. But also I don't need it. Like, I liked the book. It was fun. It was fun. I had fun reading it. But I didn't love it, and I'm not going to reread it. So I don't need it, but I still have this like, don't leave me because you remind me of holidays. Sleeping Giants by Sylvain Novelle. I read this not that long ago. I read it and I did during my deep dive into sci-fi vlog where I was like getting into the genre a little bit more. And yet again, this one I didn't really like. Well, it wasn't a 3-4 stars. This was more like a 2 stars. But I didn't really get the hype. So I don't need it. I'm not going to continue with the trilogy. It was fine, but a lot of people love this, and I did get this from the charity shop as well, so the charity shop can just have it back. And another one where I've been a bit conflicted over whether I want to get rid of it or not is Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia, and I really liked this one when I read it. Like for a YA contemporary, which isn't really my genre, I really liked it. But I'm not going to reread it. That's the motto. I'm not going to reread these books. If you're not going to reread them, what is the point in keeping them? Repeat it to myself. Like, you do not need it. You do not need it if you're not going to reread it. But the thing is, this I found at like a library sale, and it's an Owl Crate signed edition. So that's where I've been conflicted. I mean, it's a book plate, not actually signed, but that's where I've been conflicted with it. I'm like, do I want to get rid of it because of it being a signed Owl Crate edition? And that makes me question it, because I'm like, oh, this one's exciting because it's an exciting edition, but that doesn't mean I should keep it. And then the Bone Ships by R.J. Barker, another one. I wasn't a fan of this one either. This one I gave like 2 stars. It just was not for me. I think, was this my March wrap up potentially, or April? One of those wrap ups. I talk about this more, and it just fell flat. It fell flat for me. I was really excited to read it, and it wasn't really for me. Like, it completely just, I did not get on with the world building or the characters or just anything of it really. So it can go. And a lot of people, again, this book is quite popular, so I'm sure someone will love it and enjoy it, just not me. And then the final few books that I'm unhauling today. I'm very sorry, but I'm unhauling the whole of the Red Rising original trilogy. So Red Rising, Golden Sun and Morning Star in these lovely hardbacks. So I read these quite a few years ago now, and I liked them, but I didn't love them. And I kept reading because I was like, oh, maybe it'll click. Maybe I'll understand why everyone loves these. And I think I read them like just as Morning Star came out, and I didn't ever get it. Like, I never got why everyone loves these. I didn't understand. Like, I think I just really struggled with the writing style. The writing style was not for me. And I don't think as a whole I really like revenge plots or revenge stories. And that's the crux of this. So I just struggled with it. I struggled to imagine what was going on. Like, I didn't really the writing style, I mean, just did not get along. I've held on to these because I own them all in these hardcovers, but I do not need them. I do not need them. I don't. I really don't. And I'm sure they will find a lovely home. I'm sure this is going to be very exciting for someone to have, because 3 Red Rising hardbacks, like that, it's going to be very exciting for someone. And those are the 30 books that I am unhauling today. Wish me luck in getting all of these to the charity shop. We wish me luck with that. I may not be able to feel my arms by the end of that. Like, that may be a bit of a workout. Let me know what books you've unhauled recently. Sorry if any of these are your favourite. As I said, a lot of these I enjoyed but didn't love, and hopefully they will find new homes elsewhere, and they will have a new lease of life instead of just sitting unloved on my shelves. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in my future videos. Bye!